Hey, Titan.
Yeah. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's water cooler chat, where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's delegating, orchestrating, broadcasting, transcoding, or developing. All questions are available, and hopefully we can answer them. Today we're going to be just doing introductions, regular water cooler chat, yeah, I think next week we have someone coming in to do a Q&A. So, but I haven't confirmed yet, so I won't announce anything. But yeah, there you go. I'll start with introducing myself, and then we'll go down the list and get started. So, hello everyone. I am Titan. Been running the Titan Node Orchestrator since April 2021. Coming up on 2 years. It's quite incredible. I was looking at the domain that I purchased. It was like 2 years ago, and I was like, no way. That's wild. It's been a wild ride for 2 years and very exciting. Yeah, my topic today is something I didn't write down. I think I did. I always do this. When I have a coffee in my hand, I forget what I wrote down. It's going to be around, it was something very specific. Oh, yes, that's what it was. Packages and plugins for WordPress, for people to use WordPress packages. What am I saying? Okay, packages of Livepeer for WordPress and JS. That's what my topic was. I was talking to a lead about this, so anyway, that's long-winded introduction. We'll move on. Let's start with, we got a new person here. I'm going to start at the top left of my screen. I don't know if I can say the name, so bear with me. It's Rahulvivaramneni. Hopefully I gave it a good try. Would you like to introduce yourself and any questions or topics you have?
Yeah, my name is Rahulvivaramneni. It's not Rahul and Vivaramneni. You can call me as Rahul. Yeah, I recently got to know about Livepeer through a hackathon, which is currently going on. Yeah, I don't have much experience with the Livepeer yet. Yeah, that's it. That's it about me.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the community. Ben, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hey guys, Ben, been running Authority Null, the Orchestrator node since November 22. I think it's over a year, so 22 or 21. I think 22. No real topics. Maybe just touch on Video Miner, the pool that we launched recently. That's about it, though.
Very cool. I like it. Thank you so much for joining us. Chase, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi everyone, it's Chase here from Chase Media. I've been running the node for almost a year. I think in February it'll be a year. And my topic today is really to get some feedback on the NFT awards ceremony that was performed last week from Titan Node. I know a couple of you just mentioned a few things, but I'd like a little bit of feedback from that. Thank you.
Very cool. I like it. NFT feedback. Thank you so much for joining us. Papa Bear, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
You just skipped right over Pawn, huh? Sure. I am Papa Bear. I run the Solar Farm Orchestrator since July of 21. And my topic doesn't actually relate to me, but I saw quite a few comments this last few days over people that had missed reward calls. And I was wondering if anyone knows. I don't think we ever figured out. There was never really a resolution to why they were missed. I don't. So I was just wondering if anyone had any thoughts on why that happened for some people. So that's my topic.
Are you on the list of people who missed a reward call?
No, I didn't. But I saw that a few people posted about it, missing them, and it didn't seem like there was any resolution other than that. At least one of the people that posted it said that it started working over the weekend without them changing anything. So I don't know if it was just a weird hiccup that happened, or I also don't make my reward calls from the latest version, so I don't know if it's possibly tied into 0.36, but I know a lot of people are running that and don't seem to be having problems. So I wasn't able to really offer much help other than try it manually or just see if it was a fluke. So yeah, that's kind of all I got.
Fair enough. I like it. Thank you so much for joining us, Papa Bear, as always. Pawn, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Evening, everyone. I'm Pawn. I've been running my own Orchestrator since April 2022. I have no topic today, so I'm just going to be listening. Thanks.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us. Flo, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Flo from Moss Computing. I'm on Orchestrator from 3 months. I don't have really any topic for this week. Just listening.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us. BemaNode, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi everybody, my name is Bora. I am a newcomer. I am here for more than at least 1 month, and I don't have any topic for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Zoro, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi everyone, my name is Zoro. I'm a part owner of Pixel Field Orchestrator, which we have been running since September last year, I would guess so. No particular topic today, so just listening in as always.
Very cool. Thank you for joining us. MavenFoundation, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Hi, my name is Sachin. I'm a founder of MavenFoundation. We are building Web3 ecosystem for creators, and we are building one of tool on Livepeer, that is Maven House, where creators and artists can create a virtual events with their diehard fans.
I love it. Absolutely. I believe you linked your app last week. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Very
And within 2 weeks, it will be live. We are working on that. Right now, we are trying to collaborate with artists, creators globally, so they can do stream from their own studio with their diehard fans. So we are working on that right now.
Very cool. I can't wait. Hopefully, Titan Node will get an invite to do some.
Yeah, sure. Titan, I will share you a link with you, and we can have a Google Meet regarding this. So definitely, I would love to have you on board.
Very
to
cool.
Stream with your own. Yeah.
I think I have like 2 diehard fans, so hopefully they will watch me on the platform. So very cool.
Sure. We will get you more audience. Don't worry.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Maven. Or I guess,
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Richman, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Richman. I'm a community manager and a content writer. So I was here the last time and I got to know about a lot of projects. So hoping to know more about the project and hear from others today. Thank you very much, Titan.
Thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you again. And if you're in the audience, feel free to put up your hand and I'll invite you up to stage. I've been just kind of inviting people as they come, but if I miss you, feel free to put up your hand, join us on stage. I believe you can also invite yourself up if you just move yourself to stage, so come on up. And great, this sounds good. We got good topics today and a full house. I like it. Okay, let's jump into a couple topics to get ourselves started off. I'm going to start with Chase and the NFT feedback. Chase, do you want to explain a little bit about what your thoughts are and what you're thinking?
Hi, yes, thank you. I wanted to see what everyone thought of the NFTs once they actually received them, and because on the live stream, I know it was a bit blurry for some people, so I wanted just to see that. And the other thing was, I wondered what people thought, how much they enjoyed the idea of being, of having, their skills rewarded basically with an NFT. And I mean, we've had positive feedback, which is great, but I just thought it's a nice opportunity just to see what people thought of the idea and the recognition. Thank you.
Yep, Papa Bear was blown away.
Yeah.
Was it? You never mentioned that. No,
I don't know. Yeah.
No, honestly, it was great. I love my NFT. I think everyone loves it. A little award ceremony and recognition for everything was great as well.
Great. Yeah, it was really nice because you guys put so much work into this, and I just thought it was a really good idea for Titan Node to come up with it. And yeah, and no, in terms of like the NFT as an award, I guess it really fits for the Web3 space. And yeah, so it's good to know that you guys come up with it. Value from it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really fits the whole Web3 ethos, and as I've said, I was blown away by them, and I think everyone just enjoyed it, and I think that just the ceremony in general. I had no idea what to expect, but I just had a really fun time during the whole thing, and I'm trying to think. I felt like I had one other thought there, but basically, I like the idea. I'd like if this is something that could be done yearly, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I might
not to put any pressure on you to like have to keep making, but I just thought the whole idea was cool.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Very cool.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll increase the production value. I was like, as I was doing it, I was like, man, why don't we make this? You know, I want to add like drum rolls and claps and like maybe an entrance with a countdown. But like it was all thrown together such last minute, and like I don't know how it came through on Discord. Like I know Discord really dumbs down the visual if the connection isn't great or something, which I was like, oh no, that's really gonna affect the NFT of viewing this, right? Are people even gonna see? I think it was about halfway through that I realized that like, oh, this is like really pixelated for some people, which might take away from it.
That was the one thing during the live event. It was hard to see some of them, just depending on I guess the connection. But aside from that, I didn't really have any problems with it. I mean, I thought the production actually was very tight, and I was really impressed that I don't know if you were trying to do this, but like you nailed it to the hour. I mean, it was like it could have been a TV show. Like you were like it was like an hour was up, and you didn't have to like push it or stretch it or like cut it off, but it was like exactly at the hour you finished it. So I was impressed with that.
Yeah, like I wasn't even sure. Like you were like, oh, I wasn't sure what I was expecting. I'm like, I wasn't sure what I was expecting. Like I didn't know how this would go. So I'm glad it went at least as well as it did. I know the video I posted of the recording is really high quality, and I was like, oh, okay. So hopefully you guys, if you wanted to see what the high quality side was like, then I can at least post that. But
once we had our NFTs and we could see them in person, we saw how high quality they were. But
very cool. Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was a lot more work than I expected, but luckily Chase was really did a lot of work on the NFT side. So, and I'm glad to see that Marco really enjoyed it. He just like replaced his entire his avatar with it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was really great, and I think it's great recognizing everyone, because like I say, we're all doing this for different reasons, and everybody puts so much work in at different levels of Livepeer, and that's one of the reasons these water cooler chats are so lovely, because everyone gets together and talks about what they're doing and learns and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a nice event.
How many people were watching it on Xenon while in Discord? Anyone here like
I was driving at the time, so unfortunately I couldn't. I definitely would have been though if I was at home.
Because I like closed the stream and I headed over to Xenon, and there was like 10 people in there all chatting away. I was like, whoa, like who are these people? Like I was kind of confused. I was like, are these all people from Discord? Or is it from the Xenon like people? I don't know. I was like kind of surprised that like there was actually quite a few people watching on Xenon, which is kind of sweet. And the chat system was working. One thing I wish I did better was I didn't have the chat open on Discord, so I couldn't actually see what people were saying. And I didn't have the chat open on Xenon, so like the two places I was technically streaming, I wasn't even reading comments. So it was just total voice, and I think I could have read the comments a bit better. And maybe even displayed that in the stream somehow. So
next year.
So yeah, maybe I could increase the production value a bit, but overall, it was pretty fun. All right, I like it. Okay, let's move on to another topic here. Papa Bear, you talked about missed reward calls. Can you tell us a little bit about the issue you saw, and what are your thoughts?
Well, I just haven't seen really anyone mention missing reward calls in quite some time. So I thought it was interesting that I think it was like at least 2, maybe 3 different orchestrators, all on the same day, just posted in the chat that they had missed reward calls and were trying to figure out why. And they were fairly big orchestrators too. I mean, like 100,000 K staked and things like that. So they weren't like new orchestrators that had done anything, like changed anything. And yeah, I mean, I never really figured out what happened or why it happened, but I thought it was interesting that it happened to, if it was just one, I'd say, oh, things happen. But the fact that it was multiple on the same round, excuse me, just seemed a little, again, I couldn't figure out what it was. And usually I'm kind of good at troubleshooting that kind of stuff. So that's kind of, yeah, I don't have anything really to add to it other than I thought it was interesting. And
did you
I
happen
guess,
to look at?
no.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Did you
No,
happen to look at their
I was
ETH
wondering.
balance?
Yeah, I mean, one of them had a couple $1,000s worth of ETH in there, and I think they might have even. I don't know if they were staked or maybe Kraken or something like that. I mean, big, like these were big, big operators. So, so that it wasn't a stake amount. And then, what, I forgot who it was, but one of them said that it did start working again over the weekend without them changing anything. So I didn't know if, I thought one of my thoughts was that maybe there are Arbitrum RPC may have had like a hiccup just to happen, like, coincidentally at the time when it, reward call happened. That was actually something that just came to me this morning. But yeah, I really just, again, just that it was, that it would happen to multiple people just seemed a bit odd. They were all running the latest version of Livepeer, so I was like, did the newest version, introduce the bug that was fixed in, in 5.3.5? Did it get reintroduced in 0.36? But
were they running 3.6 or 3.5?
They were running 3.6.
Yeah, they're running 3.6. Well, I'm running 0.36 as well, and I have no troubles claiming rewards.
Yeah, and I figured there would be more people if it was just a 3.6 issue, but yeah, it just seemed kind of odd to me that it happened to a few people all on the same day, same round. And they were able to manually call through the contract, and that worked fine. So might just be one of those mystery things, and if it doesn't happen again, it's not a big deal, but still, just it was a little odd to me.
Yeah, I know that, like, when I used to have this problem all the time running a so I bought a NUC, like a Intel NUC, so like, $100, $150 like tiny computer, to just call reward on behalf of the node. And when with Windows, I had constant downtime, constant issues with it calling reward regularly, and it was mostly because like Windows kept wanting to update, and then like the NUC didn't have enough CPU power to like run Windows and Livepeer. Like there's only like 2 gigabytes of RAM, and like it was all taken up by Windows. So like just like opening up the file explorer on Windows would crash the NUC, and it was like, this thing's so underpowered. So I had lots and lots of issues with that. So I wiped it and put Ubuntu on it, and it's been a smooth operating machine ever since. And then I added the better reward call Python script that somebody had posted. So it checks to see if you called reward, and if it doesn't, it'll call it for you every 5 minutes. And the combination of those 2 upgrades that I did, like I haven't looked at the box in months, and it's just running real smoothly. So yeah,
we have the same setup now. I think we have the same NUC and both running it on Ubuntu OS. And just a heads up in case you find it useful, Marco made some edits to the better call reward script that allows you to run one script for multiple O's. So if you want to put 2 O's on that box that call rewards, like 2 different orchestrators, you can, and just point the script to 2 different CLI addresses.
That would be much easier. I was
Are
doing.
you running 2 right now?
Running 3.
Oh man, yeah, that would definitely be helpful. Then I can
Yeah.
link you that.
Cool. Yeah, if you want to link that, it would be nice.
It is in the chat.
Yeah, because I have to run a separate script for each one. Yeah, the Nook with Windows, I had like 6 windows open, and it was just not good. So, but
We had like 1 gigabyte of RAM in that thing, right?
Yeah,
So
it was.
like,
I'm surprised they even ship it with Windows. Like, it was really rough. But yeah, no, I managed to put Ubuntu on it, and it's like, wow, it's just like you don't even have to look at the thing.
No,
Yeah.
these guys seem pretty advanced because I mean they were all running Linux, and I mean like I asked them to post their startup scripts, and I mean like one of them even said like going to our load balancer here. So I was like, okay, these guys are definitely not rookies, and not just. I mean, they were pretty like complex setups, and they advanced users. So yeah, it was definitely not. It wasn't a Windows issue for sure, or definitely not an underpowered Nook box making the reward call. But since one of them said it was working, the other 2 I haven't seen post back, but I'm assuming it's been worked out at this point.
Yeah, we're still waiting for it. We're gonna confirm it today. If it's not gonna work today, we're gonna jump on better rewards call script as well.
Okay, yeah, Palm was involved in that whole thing, so he probably knows more about what's going on than I do.
I have a question in terms of like, I guess it's kind of calling a reward, but it's key management. Does anyone know how to? I'm pretty sure it's possible to decrypt a key store file and recreate one with a new passphrase. Does anyone know how to do that or have any experience with that?
I've heard that it's possible, but I haven't tried to do it ever.
Because every time I Google how to do it, all the ways of doing it, all the platforms have, like, if you use a third-party platform, they basically discontinued it or removed it as a service because they're just like, it's way too risky. Like, it's like the chance of exposing your keys is like astronomically high. Basically, importing and then downloading your key, like your raw key store file off the internet or something. It's like, so, but apparently you can do it with Geth. But I don't run Geth, I run Aragon, and I don't think Aragon can do it, so I don't know. I'm just like, I want to figure out how to do it, but I was looking for anyone with experience.
What is it that you were trying to do exactly? I tuned out for half a second there.
I want to re-encrypt my key store file with a different passphrase.
Oh, that would be useful. Yeah, I have no idea how to do it, but it would be nice if someone knows how.
Not because I think it's more secure, because technically, like, if you've already generated a key store and you know someone already has access to the previous passphrase, it doesn't change the passphrase. But I just think it would be a nice utility in case, just like, if I was able to erase my key store, like, I mean, actually, it would be nice to be able to generate a new passphrase, maybe a bit more secure. That is what I would load up into, like, my MetaMask or something. Just some thoughts.
Yeah.
Vires, do you know how to do this kind of thing? I feel like you're a Geth master. Who else here is a Geth master?
I've not tried it yet, but if it's possible with Geth, I mean, you don't have to run a node to try it. You can just install Geth and then try it. You don't need like a sync node.
Oh, really? How does that work?
Yeah, because it's just like software, right? It's like if you have a key file and you can do stuff with Geth with it. The node part is just like another part of the software.
So you can spin up a Geth instance without syncing the node at all.
Yeah, if you install Geth, then you can do like Geth stuff, like for example, create an account or read like a key file, and if you say that you can like re-encrypt it with a different passport, and then you can do this as well.
See, that was my reservation. I didn't want to bother doing a Geth because I thought I had to sync an entire node in order to do stuff. But I guess, yeah, it would make sense that you don't have to. So I will definitely give that a try and report back with my failures. Well, there you go. Cool. Any other any other topics around misreward calls, key management, or otherwise node operations? Very cool. We have some more people that have joined us, so let's go ahead and do some more introductions. We got SpeedyBird that has joined us. SpeedyBird, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic if you have one?
Hey, no topic today. I think people probably recognize me by now. Been here for a few months, acting as an orchestrator like the rest of you guys, but not much to add today.
Very cool.
You're acting, or you actually are one?
What? Acting?
I said, are you acting, or you actually are one?
Did I say acting?
I thought that's what you said.
You said you're acting as an orchestrator.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the difference?
I don't know.
How do orchestrators act? No, I was kidding.
You put a costume on of like of a nice node, and you do some improv. I don't know.
I've been walking around downtown acting like an orchestrator.
That's right. Just going around telling people I'm acting as orchestrator and waiting to see what happens. I'm trying to trigger Mike. That's all.
Yeah, you're triggering me. That's for sure.
That's too good. On that topic, Mike, you want to introduce yourself and tell us your trigger warnings?
Hey guys, I'm running Xodeapp and I haven't won tickets today, so that's one of my triggers, just so you know. But a little orchestrator joke if you're not acting. But I don't know. I've been running my Xodeapp work since February. No topics today. I just kind of trying to stir stuff up.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us. Vires, would you like to introduce yourself and a topic?
Well, I've been running the Vires and numeris.eth orchestrator since almost 4 years now, and no topic from my side.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're in the audience, feel free to bring yourself up to stage. You can right-click on your name and move to stage, or you can put up your hand. I don't know. I forget what the commands are. But yeah, anyone in the audience, feel free to come up and join in on the conversation. Okay, let's move on to Authority Null's topic. Authority, you brought up the video miner pool, and I recently actually just joined the video miner pool. Can you tell us a little bit about some updates or what you're working on over there?
Yeah, so we just recently launched the beta, and yeah, thank you, Titan, for being the first transcoder on the pool and immediately finding a couple of issues that we fixed. So thanks for that. And we've had some traction. We've had about 3 or 4 transcoders come in since yesterday, so that's been really cool to see. And yeah, we just wanted to throw it out there. If anyone wants to hop on and test or try and break it, let us know, and we'll get you a key and you can try it out. We still have about 6 slots. We want to keep it down to 10 for at least the initial test. But yeah, it's going really well so far, and it's been great to see some feedback.
On that note, Titan, did you have a chance to try that new software yet, or are you been busy this morning?
No, I'm busy this morning. Didn't get around to it yet. I have it running on another machine. That the speed test properly registered. So it's been transcoding over there.
I don't know if you saw the note that we got rid of the speed test and we're just going to rely on the it's like in the new version that's released now, the speed test is gone, and it'll just rely on the selection algorithm to if you're not able to keep up, it'll get rid of you that way. And then we also changed the port so that there's no conflict if you're running Livepeer or in another pool that's using the default 7935. So we made those changes partially at your request or your observation. So we appreciate the feedback, and anything else, let us know, and we will get on as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I noticed some of my pool transcoders headed on over and hopped into yours. So it's good that we make them interoperable between them. Or at least I think that's
yeah. I have transcoders been coming from TitanNode?
Well, we haven't really been tracking where they're coming from.
Yeah, we have no idea really. But yeah, I mean, if they can run multiple pools at the same time, I think that's.
Well, the latest guy, PM Canono. I don't know. He joined. He's from my pool.
Oh, he's from Livepool as well. So I think
he's like multi-pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all over.
Might as well.
But
cool.
yeah, no, I mean, well, that's another thing is as pool operators, we have to ask ourselves, like, it'll be very interesting how we handle max session limits and GPU loads on people who are using multiple pools, and it'll be an interesting conversation on how if we can structure a way to work either together on that, or if there's just a technological way we can fix that issue of people like.
I think that was what Ben was referring to our T selection algorithm. Basically, if your performance deteriorates based on you having streams or not having proper bandwidth, you're automatically going to get, kicked out of the stream selection. You can connect to the pool, but you're not going to get any work, right? Because you're basically not fit for the job.
Yeah, so we do track performance, as transcoders are receiving jobs. So if their performance drops because they have a significant amount of streams or something, then it'll switch to another T.
Is it how responsive is that? Is the performance? Is it like every segment it detects whether you're in time, or is it like cumulative over time? Like, how do you guys have that set up?
I mean, I know it's constantly tracking it. Marco is the genius behind that, so I don't want to speak on his behalf on how exactly it works and tracks it. Maybe Zoop, you have a bit more.
Well,
insight.
there's definitely per segment, right? So if anyone starts dropping at a segment level, it'll be able to dynamically switch. What the criteria is, I would definitely need Marco to speak on it. But if a segment if you start to fall below a threshold and those segments are not performing well, another T that's got capacity will be pulled in.
Yeah, dynamically adjusting it, similar to how an O changes orchestrators, right? It sees a segment.
That's right.
That seems like a
same concept.
Yes,
same concept, exactly.
Seems like a better way of handling that type of that issue.
Yeah, and then there
we didn't know. Oops, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, you're good. There is also the issue of low demand, right? So we were thinking, if it's lower res streams, maybe we hand those off to transcoders who aren't performing as well, just so that they can get some work, right? Because it is Livepeer after all, and we want people to be able to transcode, even if they're not the best transcoder out there. So, those lower renditions don't necessarily need to be transcoded by the best GPU and 2 gig fiber or whatever. So that's something we've been talking about as well.
Well,
and that's also part of the like you kind of have to work your way up to getting the good streams too. So that's part of the way that we also not really vet, but when you're new and we don't have performance data for you, you're not going to get like the multi rendition stuff until you could prove that you can handle it. And then if you fall out from that, then the selection process goes back into more of like the the Livepeer way of doing it, where okay, you're not keeping real time, we're going to switch to someone else, except it's at the T level versus the O level.
Oh, very cool. I feel like, so based on that though, I noticed you guys said, maybe it was in your requirements, that you required a wired connection, not Wi-Fi. Wouldn't that mean that it doesn't matter as long as they're returning them real time? Like,
Well, that's a way of basically ensuring the network speed is high enough, right? So if you're on Wi-Fi and you got gigabit Wi-Fi at home and you're able to keep that stuff, great. You're going to pass the threshold, you'll be fine. But again, in general, that's not the case, though.
But if their connection is unstable on Wi-Fi, the selection criteria will pick that up, and the stream will end with them and go to someone else, or the next stream that comes in won't go to them, or whatever.
It's just a support issue, right? Like they're gonna say, hey, you said wired only, and I'm on Wi-Fi. Like it works great. If it works for you, great. But if you have problems, then you probably should switch to wired.
right. So you're not actually checking to see if they're on Wi-Fi or not.
Not
Well,
specifically.
It would only be like more if you're having some weird kind of latency issues, especially if they're like intermittent. Then it's kind of like something we could just pick up on that you're on Wi-Fi, but we're not specifically looking for that. It's more of just your connection isn't as stable as it would be if it was wired. So it's kind of a a tip off. But again, hey, if you're on Wi-Fi and you're able to keep everything going fine, no problem.
Yeah, because
most people can't.
I lost someone in my pool when I did the wired upgrade. I lost someone in my pool who was actually a top performer, and they were like, "Hey, after this upgrade, like I'm gonna get kicked. I'm on Wi-Fi," and I was like, "Oh, like can you get wired?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay," and I was like, "Oh, this really sucks. I'm gonna lose this person who's clearly high performing on Wi-Fi. Like, so clearly it does work." But at the time, like, I literally couldn't keep my scores like good at all. And as soon as I made that upgrade, it totally flattened the playing field of like people trying to join with like terrible Wi-Fi. So
yeah,
I programmatically said, hey, you can't join unless you can prove you have an Ethernet connection. And I tried to.
So like you check the hardware for that? How are you doing that?
Yeah, if you check your network, and if Windows always comes back with either Wi-Fi or Ethernet, and so you just based on that information, you can determine whether they're cabled or not.
Right. Okay.
So I the only problem is if you're running like a China version, there's one guy in Hong Kong who it comes back with like a Cantonese version of Ethernet. And so my program just looks at that and goes, I don't know what that is. I assume it's not wired. So he's the only one that said he was wired in and he couldn't connect. But every other language in every other country, it seems as though if you're plugged in, Windows will come back with the word Ethernet. So I just regex that and it gets.
Yeah, I think another way to possibly look at that is if you find a way to measure the latency between the O and T in real time. That might even be a more dynamic and advanced way to do it. So if you're on Wi-Fi, that latency is probably going to jump around quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I just said, there's so much capacity out there that I was like, and my you guys do segment performance. You do performance based on every segment that comes through. Mine just does it every hour, so like it just bundles what you've done in the last hour and takes the average. So like it's just not nearly as precise. So I did a lot more gatekeeping up front, and then generic selection on the back end, where you guys are kind of doing it the other way around, which is probably better.
Well, yeah, if you look at it though, right, like people can get gated out, and then once they're in, the problem we were seeing is that if you're in and you pass the initial test, like we still have the concern where what if you're on 3 pools and you're sharing your GPU to a point where you're still performing poorly, even though you pass all the markers, right? So the performance-based analysis is probably the smartest way to go. And I think, that was really Marco pushing hard to make that happen. But I think we were content with similar gatekeeping mindsets, but obviously a T selection is really just slick, in that you can get in there and change the dials, and then you can let some new people in just by a setting or something. So it was really a good addition.
Yeah, that's a better way of doing it. Yeah, I've been struggling a lot with the whole gatekeeping side of things. It's not as, I don't think it'll be as useful as the way you guys do it. But I didn't know how to do what Marco has done. Like, I don't write Go, right? So I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah, man, that's why I'm saying Go code is cool. So the fact that he's been able to do that and make that work is just testament to the will of the 8.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, and we got to give a shout out to Brad, because what he's been developing over the last year or so has definitely helped us get off the ground with that. And maybe that's something you can look into as well. He's done some stuff with webhooks and T selection, and he has a public repo for it. So might be some ideas there.
very cool. What about your guys' secret? Like, I noticed that I could find your guys' org secret in the command, but when I went to join just as an independent org, it just gave me an error saying invalid pool.
You need the token now. That's why we added that.
The secrets doesn't matter. Like, you have to actually verify with a token that you're not trying to game it.
Yeah, see, that's another. I'm assuming, and that's also built into the Go compiled code. I'm assuming.
No, that runs separate.
Oh, does it really? I thought it was part of it.
The API is separate, and the management and all that's separate, isn't it?
That's a whole separate
I
thing,
just
yes,
thought there was a Go call to make sure it's valid, right? A token check.
I mean, you would know more than us.
I think there is at least a token check in the Go code on the Livepeer side to make sure that when they actually connect, that the token is valid. So I think there was a change there, but small.
But that would
that's the thing. It's 2 parts. It's one is where all that stuff is managed, and then the Go code had to be changed to accept a token instead of the org secret to basically keep people from doing what you talked about a couple weeks ago, Titan, about that one guy who just, no matter what you did, kept getting around your secret.
Yeah, well, and he still can get around it.
You were the reason that we came up with that. We put time into figuring that out. So,
well, because
I say we, meaning mostly Joey, I think.
I came up with like a simple fix, and like it kind of works, but like he was still able to figure it out in about like 3 minutes how to like just connect with an unverified T. I was like, oh, okay.
Send him over to us. I want to see if he gets past our system.
See, that's the problem is, for the good guys, you have to be right 100% of the time. It takes the bad guy just one time to be right, and he's going to get in, you know what I mean? So it's a much harder proposition when you're the good guy.
Yeah, I think, hold on. I think I'm if I'm not mistaken, the guy that already joined your pool is the guy that kept messing with my pool. I mean, we built up a relationship. He just helps me out. He just
awesome.
he just tells me like he's not actually out to game me. He's just like, hey, figured it out, and I'm like, thanks, and then he's like, cool. And I just let him keep going. Like, I don't care. But yeah, no, I think he's joined your pool now. So don't worry, he's in there.
Well, it's good. We need people like that who are going to try and break things and at least let us know what's broken so we can make it better.
Yeah, when I first called him out on it, he apologized, and I'm like, honestly, man, like, there's no reason to apologize. Like, you're just like, if you want to, like, it's whatever. Like, you're messing around with code, you're hacking away. Like, that's what I do too. Like, I constantly am fiddling with other people's stuff to try and break it. So, like. And then he just was like, oh, okay. And then like I'm like, oh, okay, I made an update. And then he like messaged me like 3 minutes later. He's like, I got it. I'm like, ah, damn it.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, oh no, if he can break it, he'll let you know. Yeah. And so I actually threw him some Livepeer as a thank you. So I've been kind of just feeding him some
Like
sort of
basically a bug bounty.
yeah, just some sort of bounty.
That's
like,
right.
He's like, oh, I
That's
don't need
cool,
anything,
man.
and I'm like, well, whatever. Go buy yourself a coffee or something. I don't know. But so don't worry,
Now
he's
I'm
over at
curious
your
to see
pool.
I'm curious to see if he can figure it out because I mean I certainly couldn't, but that doesn't mean that someone else can.
Yeah, I think he's already changed the capacity of streams, which you have to do with a flag.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's his
pretty
T I'm
easy.
looking at. Yeah, I mean it's easy, but gotta know where to look at least.
Yeah, so he's already like messing around with that.
He's
kind of
Hiding
stuff.
in
He's
plain
working.
sight. The config's
Yeah.
hiding in plain sight. So he's in there. He sees it. He's able to do whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, he's running an interesting setup too. I think he's on Unraid or something.
Oh,
I
is
don't know.
this is the guy from Mexico?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he seems pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I gotta install it manually." I'm like, "Oh, you sure you don't want to use the script?" He's like, "No, I'm done." Already
I
installed
know
Dude.
that was so quick. I was like, damn, all right.
Yeah. So there you go. You got the guy. I think he's in all our pools.
All right.
But
Awesome.
so
Yeah, I
shoot him
saw
on.
he was on the live pool, so yeah. Well,
I'm sure he'll help you guys out.
Hey, Titan, how many topics do we have? I want to add one on there. I forgot my topic, but I have it now. Are we
Go ahead and add
through
it.
most? Or?
We're like running short on topics. Go ahead.
Nah, so again, I've been playing around with this Streamr network. I know you guys have heard me mention it once or twice, but just curious as the conversation surrounding, the performance and reliability board and all of that. I didn't know if there was a plan to get that going again, because I'd like to at least talk in that Streamr R mindset to see if that changes that and gives it some life, some legs again.
What I looked into Streamr, but because that's the data token one, right?
Yes.
I guess the question is, how do you see it fitting into the performance board, or how do you what services does it do or provide that we could implement?
Well, if you remember, right, we were looking at how do we collect data that gives us information about whether the pool's performance is good, bad, on a segment basis, what have you, right? Like, and again, the only way to get that data would be to like alter Livepeer or change the software to do some things that would allow us to collect it. And the mindsets today were like, Grafana, Prometheus, pull the data off. But the reality is we want to create a marketplace in which that data can be consumed by anybody who's looking to make choices based on that data. So like we were saying, broadcasters will look at it and say, I want to focus on performance and quality, not cost, right? Like, or I want to focus on cost, not I could crap streams or whatever. So the idea is O's and T's could publish data to this what they call a data union in Streamr, and what that does is you basically it's just like you're providing data to the stream. So like if somebody starts to buy that data and consume it, the O's and T's that are providing the data into the Streamr stream, then they get basically rewarded for being part of that network. So I'm saying is we had a problem where we're thinking, in the last conversations around, well, why would I, I'm not going to put this, who's going to give the T and O data that's going to allow these broadcasters to make these choices? Like, and that, who's going to opt in? And we were like, how do we collect it? But just collecting it, the infrastructure of being able to collect the data from those O's and T's and then having applications consume it and use it so that you could make decisions. These are the things that Streamr provides. And again, it goes back to the whole Web3 ethos, right, as well. Like using these Web3 primitives to integrate with our protocol to do these kinds of things. That's just maybe a bit of rambling, but that's at least some of my thoughts around it.
Yeah.
Did I
think
confuse everyone?
I mean, I just I don't know. I don't even know where we're going with it or even how to move it forward.
Okay, so that's kind of what I was thinking. Is it that it was just kind of stuck and wasn't sure where to go? So, all right, maybe we can go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just thinking maybe that's not the right forum for it. Maybe it's just something that I can kind of build out the idea a little more and maybe bring it back to the group and see what the thoughts are around it. And maybe it fits for reliability and performance board, maybe not. But I just thought it seemed like a synergy to me. But again, I could always, like I said, crystallize it a little better and maybe bring it back up.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Sorry, I got like 4 messages and I was replying to them, so it's kind of like I lost you there for a little bit. So that's my apologies.
Nah, it's fine. Again, we could always bring it up again and talk about it in more detail.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know where we are with the performance board. Elite and I started working. So, what we wanted to do was get the free broadcaster node going. And we ran into so many issues with that we like spent more time just fixing the broadcaster node than we did actually moving on with the performance side of things. Because as we were running out the price per broadcaster flag to 0, we ran into like a whole bunch of other things that were happening, and we were like, so we fixed all those issues. So that's great. So, and then we just haven't worked on it since. So, yeah, there's also a free. So we've relaunched the Livepeer Academy free broadcaster node now. So if anyone wants to white flag or whitelist the free node we're handing out, feel free to do so. So it's yeah, just a bit of a package I handed out. People can download and try. So, and then as you download and try the broadcaster node, everyone who's got the free broadcaster flag for that node can just transcode for them for free. So if you're interested in supporting that initiative, please let me know. But the idea is that broadcaster node that streams for free would be the performance board node, so that it can send you streams for free and give and provide this performance. So that was step 1 of this whole thing, was whitelisting an address that can stream a decent amount of stuff without getting charged. We're finally at that point. I think we finally have a node that can do that. I know me, Elite, and maybe one other person have already whitelisted the account. So now we need to go into building out the actual performance side of things. So calculating round trip time and all these things, which you guys do in the pool. So I'd really like your guys' feedback on how you do that, because we could probably just build that right into the performance board. And then
yeah, definitely we could talk to Marco on that, see what he has to share there.
Because we were looking at the stream tester repo, but I don't think we really dug into it to actually use it.
Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time looking at that stream tester tool.
And?
Well, I looked at it from a different angle. I wasn't looking at it what you guys were talking about with the performance and reliability. But what I was trying to do was create a similar test stream, like an on-demand test stream tool, where you can basically submit a stream to the Livepeer node and say, hey, is my work running good, right? Like, I just made some changes and I haven't got a stream yet. I haven't gotten that interpret test stream from Livepeer, but just to make sure everything's working, I can send an on-demand stream through and kind of make sure that was working. So I spent a lot of time looking at it in that regard. And I also looked at it for trying to embed the Livepeer broadcaster inside of like another media server. So where you can actually like owncast. I think we talked about this a couple of water coolers back, where, I wanted to put a broadcaster inside of one of those media servers and send streams out for transcoding as part of a platform play with those other, media servers. It turned out to be a little bigger and a lot more involved. And that stream tester tool was the reason why I felt like it was really complicated. So that code is not easy to follow, but I think it has the hopes of, stripping away all of the Livepeer broadcaster stuff, but give you the core API, the like nugget of juice to take a media server and use it on top of something like that. So they're not using it in that regard either. But if you look at the way they wrote it, it kind of is that way. They stripped away everything, but it's just the core nucleus of the broadcaster. And with that in place, you should be able to just drop it into a media server or use it like you were intending. Give a free broadcaster, and you can then drop in all kinds of performance collection and all that other stuff. So just interesting to see what people are coming up with from that thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I like it. It's a good idea. It just needs someone to get behind it, and I just have been kind of dropping the ball with it. So sorry about that, everyone.
No, that's not your fault or anyone's fault. It just, these are hard problems and they take a lot of time, and we hope to get quick wins and when we have some momentum, but when you hit issues, it just really takes the sales out of projects.
Definitely. When last comment on that Streamr network thing, how is Streamr network? Can you set up your own node on Streamr and like be a part of it, or is it?
Yes, and it's really simple actually. And Zoop showed me how to do it on Docker a few days ago. Yeah, you can boot it up, and it doesn't seem to use a lot of resources at all. Maybe just a bit of bandwidth.
Oh, very
That's
cool.
about it. Yeah.
Is it worth
Yeah,
setting
there's
up?
a node. Again, if you're trying to become a millionaire on Streamr with low adoption and their, alpha phase, go for it. You know what I mean? But I think the money's not going to make a lot, but it's why not if you have the extra available, right?
Yeah, if you're used to Livepeer, you won't be surprised by what you make with Streamr. But I think it's just cool to run different nodes and see how they work and play around with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, don't get me wrong.
I call drinking. Sorry, go ahead, Tate.
Yeah, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I call it drinking the Web3 Kool-Aid, man. Running all kinds of nodes, doing what you can. You gotta taste it and know if you like it or not.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it, right? Like I was thinking of like, what does it mean? Like, is there gonna be like eventually like a title like full-time node operator? Like that's your job.
I hope so.
Right? Like I just think that like in the Web3 world, or at least like in the future, it's like, oh, what do you do for a world? Oh, I'm just like a full-time node operator, right? Like
I'm a YouTuber. I'm a node operator.
Right?
I'm a
I'm
whatever
an
app builder.
Yeah, I'm an app builder. And so it's like, I'm an Instagram influencer, right? It's like that didn't exist that long ago, like, and so, what do you do? Oh, I'm a crypto node operator. Like, oh, I know. Okay, I know.
I swap tokens for compute. What do you do?
Right? Like, I'm a part of the decentralized Skynet that runs off of a node I contribute to. Right? So like, and so I also has been coming to the conclusion, like, okay, if that's the case, then what is the set of nodes that are most compatible with each other, or the most like, is it running an Ethereum validator node a part of that? I started looking to a Polygon validator node, and but it's like it's capped to 100, very similar to Livepeer. I'm wondering what came first, like where this. It seems like a lot of protocols are capped to 100, and I'm wondering where that started.
There's a variety of reasons. Each has their own trade-offs they're trying to make for things, but I think what you're describing here, though, is what my madness has been since I started Livepeer in 2022 of February. So it's the same idea, like, and this is where I kept going back to media network and IPFS, and like these are the primitives that are related to Livepeer, and obviously they're calling it out. But if you hear Eric and such talk about it, and then recently, I wouldn't say too recent, but I heard of Streamr through a talk that Eric had on YouTube about, integrating with other protocols, and they were talking about a potential use case where Streamr could be used for collecting performance data from live streams and subscribing to it. And I just said, man, it was too coincidental that they were talking about it, and here you guys are. When I was part of the conversations too, but we're talking about building a performance and reliability board, and I was like, wow, it's just like not coincidence, right?
Yeah. So but back to that point, like, what does a node operator look like, right? So they run like a Streamr node. They run like, does IPF, like I run an IPFS node essentially, right? But like, how, and if you pin something, you can get streamed. I haven't quite dug into it much because I just didn't really,
What do you mean Streamr specifically?
No, like Filecoin, like, because I've been looking into a lot of other protocols, right, to like figure out, like, do you want to run like for file storage, do you want to run an IPFS/Filecoin node, or do you want to run like an Arweave node, right? And then like, what are the trade-offs with that, and what kind of equipment do you need for that, and so
I think there's a full stack that could go alongside Livepeer, right? Like the graph, which seems like quite a technical thing to get into and pretty expensive as well, but that's a big one that seems to earn people a decent income too. And then media is coming out.
Graph's a big one.
Yeah, I think graph might be one of the biggest, aside from running an orchestrator. And then media will be coming out with their nodes as well, which go hand in hand with Livepeer and act as a DCDN.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one.
Streamr and all these things can kind of link into the Livepeer stack.
Does anyone here run graph nodes?
Nope. I wish. I mean, that's
it, but my God,
I'm just a delegator on there.
Yeah, I'm a delegator as well, but I kind of figured like, well, the other thing about the graph though is like, it's not like they need a lot of compute because they're just indexing data.
Well, they do. I mean, the barrier to entry for what you need is pretty substantial. You need a crap ton of storage, a lot of memory, and like, it's pretty significant. I try to.
You say it's not compute intensive, but it is though.
But
what's
I mean,
actually happening is that indexing of all the blockchain events across all the different activity of transactions. That's a massive endeavor.
Don't get me wrong. No, because they even run full archive nodes. So it's like, it's not even just like a prune node. It's like they run archive node. Like, no. Don't get me wrong. It's resource
all
intensive.
block data.
Yeah, but it's not like location intensive. Like, it's not compute intensive that the way like Livepeer and IPFS and like these media servers are. It's like,
it's not region dependent. It's sheer parallelized computation. That's why it's running more nodes helps in that graph protocol.
Right.
But the indexer side of that too is also very like, there's a lot of analytics to what are the best to index per month, and then that way you can get the biggest ROI on it. It's not just like
that's true.
So the ones that like I delegate to, they're like, they're constantly running data models to figure out what is the best allocation percentage to give to these different subgraphs. That way they can get the most out of, per year,
Yeah, so they're not going to waste time indexing dead graphs that nobody cares about. They're going to try to focus on the ones where the activity is and people are actually actively using it. So again, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, like I'm delegating to people that are indexing against things that that work in my thesis of what a Web3 world would look like, right? Like, like ENS and Livepeer and like all these things that I think are important. rather than just returns is kind of the way I went about it. Although returns are important, but like I'd take a 2% haircut if I'm delegating towards something that I think is important rather than just like the next safe moon coin that I just like.
Well,
don't
yeah,
care
he
about.
just described, some sort of analytics AI system that actually looks at it all and determines what the most effective, ROI is. So like, but again, you're talking more like your passion, supporting the projects you care about, right?
Yeah. Like I'm sure like the Shibu Inu, graph indexer is probably going to be profitable because of the widespread marketing of it. But like, do I believe in Shiba Inu as being this revolutionary technology that we all humans and AI are going to use? Like, no. Like, I think it's
right.
It's Ponzonomics, right? So like, I'd rather support projects that are trying to build something more interesting, right?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when we talk about the graph, we have the perspective of delegators. So we see both sides because we're also node operators. So in a graph, you can imagine that when you become a node operator, like there's a lot of competition. So in Livepeer, we're running nodes in multiple locations and geolocating, and in the graph, they're creating formulas and figuring out complex mathematical equations to figure out like what to index and all that stuff. So it's just a competition thing, I think.
Right. And so I think also as node operators on Livepeer, we're going to be tending to like if Media Network comes out with their node, like I want to run one of those, right? Because it's
definitely
highly in line with the type of resource that I'm optimizing for, right? Like I'm optimizing for high network connectivity, high speed internet, right? Whereas I'm not convinced, I don't know enough about the graph, but I'm not convinced that that's what they want to optimize for, right? As long as they have, I could be totally wrong, so I'll just disregard that.
I think you're right. I think they're looking for like a petabyte of storage and a lot of fiber.
Right, so and redundancy on power, and I guess everyone kind of is doing that, but whereas funny enough, like I looked at redundancy of power on my Ethereum node, and it's actually really not that important. Like I'd rather just the Ethereum node go down for 30 minutes or an hour, and then just on power up, it just boots up the Ethereum node again in a service, and away it goes. And you lose everything you lose, you gain back in the exact same amount of time, like an hour. So it didn't make sense to invest at all in power backups.
Yeah, but you're not supporting mission critical financial algorithms that if you miss an hour, next thing you know, your margin calls and you're broke. So again, I think it's just where your risk tolerance is, and I think yours is pretty low.
Right. So this is what I mean. I'm trying to find protocols. So I guess this came back to my theory of like, I was like writing down my New Year's goals, and I was like, what does it mean to be a full-time node operator in 3 years? Like, this is like the main gig, right? And then I thought about what other protocols fit into my ethos, and how could I run those? So I don't know. I've just been doing some exploring on that. So this all comes back down to the Streamr protocol and whether it's worth diving into. That's all.
It's really early. I think if you look at their documentation, it's they're just finishing their first round of initial investment. They're implementing the technology, so like it's early. So does it mean it's not going to work? No, I think to your point, that is adjacent, exactly next to Livepeer. And I think if you look at things that are going to allow these protocols to intercommunicate and interoperate, the Streamr protocol fits into that paradigm. So I think it may not be adjacent, but it's definitely some of the connective tissue that's going to be needed to allow these protocols to work amongst each other. So just getting in, following it early, I think gives you can collect some of that data token at the lower price right now, right? And whenever they get some adoption, they're looking to spend money on grants and these things, right? So they're going to be looking hard in this first quarter of this year and the second quarter to really push grants and adoption. So they'll have a lot of money in their war chest that they want to start spilling out. So I think even at that level, when you talk about what does it mean to be a node operator, you know, nodes taste Kool-Aid, right? But then at the same time, get paid to let users in and find cool integrations for it.
Seems like they have a lot of nodes.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I just think it's still demand is low in terms of integrations, but this goes back to my point with the reliability board. If you could leverage Streamr to push data into a marketplace, not only are you the node operator who's getting paid for running a Streamr node, and not only are you getting paid for a Livepeer node, but you're also going to get paid for sharing the data that this ecosystem's producing. So to me, it's like win, 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 win for everybody.
They have a lot of nodes because they cap how much you can allocate to one node, and they encourage you to create more, like multiple nodes. So I think it's like 10,000 of their token per node.
Yeah.
So you might have people in there with like 50 nodes. So
10,000 data is equivalent of like $260, something like that. So
yeah, it's pretty
you can
low.
spin up a whole bunch of them. And again, I run a bunch of ARB nodes, so I was running Streamr nodes on my ARB nodes, and I didn't run them on my Livepeer nodes because I didn't want to affect my streaming performance and bandwidth and stuff. But whatever you can run, they have a little browser plugin that they were working on. I was reading and checking out that you can just launch a browser on your laptop and let it run a Streamr node. You know what I mean? And it is.
Very interesting. Huh. Well, if people come across interesting projects that they've spun up nodes on and have success with, it might be nice just sharing them in the water cooler chat. It'd be kind of cool to keep supporting orchestrators in their journey of like also supporting adjacent projects that work together.
Remember, we justify having VPSs and being geolocated. These are things that make me feel less bad about my spend.
Another topic I had was about has anyone used GeForce Now, the NVIDIA gaming cloud gaming system or thing that they're providing?
I have not used it. No, I've seen them advertise it a bunch, but
so
is it
affordable? I downloaded it for the first time, and you can try for free. You get like 2 or 3 hours for free or something. It's wildly impressive. It's like,
is it really?
Like I'm like kind of blown away. So you get these computers, essentially these servers with RTX 4090s or 3090s in them, whatever, and you literally, instead of downloading the game on your computer, having a computer that can run it, all these kind of things, it's just streaming you a live stream of what that screen would show.
Right, but what's the latency like with that?
I was doing it on Wi-Fi on my phone, and I was playing like high-end games. It was
but the latency from their server to your phone, if you were trying to play a competitive game, that might be pretty rough, right?
Well, so I was looking at that. Every time you clicked, it was unnoticeable than your computer.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that was a huge issue with these cloud providers in the past. I wonder if they figured out a way to mitigate that a lot.
I was 20 milliseconds from their server, but when I clicked, it felt as if I clicked on my own computer. Like there was no. So I did on my phone, but like obviously you can't see much on a phone. But the fact is, you can run high-end game on your phone. Was like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. But then I went onto my desktop to try out like a game that you had to click and point and run around, and it was like, I mean, you wouldn't even tell the difference, which I thought was really interesting. So Although it does specify like, hey, listen, you need to have good internet. It needs to be low latency and like, although by good internet they said 15 megabits a second, so it wasn't even that fast. But I was pretty impressed by just a point and click game, how responsive it was. It was unnoticeable compared to a local machine.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was really interesting on many levels. Obviously this stuff isn't being transcoded per se because it's literally live. But like, I don't know, just it showed me the power of like what you can do over the internet now. You don't even need to use your own computer to do computer things. You just need a screen. In fact, your iPhone screen is good enough to see, and then you can play anything you want with any amount of power. Like, there's no point of even buying a 4090. You can literally rent one and play games on it.
What's the price of what they're giving?
$10 a month
For unlimited?
I think there's a limit to that. I think it was $20 a month for like the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now I'll look it up. But anyway, I just thought like, yeah, it was very interesting. I think there's a limit, no matter what.
That's not bad at all, seeing as some of these cards are over $1,000.
Well, yeah, like because the 4090s are like $1,600, right? So
yeah, it's 8 years of, or almost 8 years of using their service.
Okay, so it says it's if you buy 6 months at a time, whatever, it's like $16 a month, $17 a month essentially. You get access to the 4080 rigs, and you get 8-hour session length, up to 4K resolution, up to 120 frames per second. There's no set limit to how many times a member may start a new session in a day. Performance dependent device. Yeah, it's unlimited. It's just you have an 8-hour session limit, so you have to restart the session after 8 hours.
That's actually really cool.
For $17 a month, right?
That's insane.
Yeah, and like, so you can play like the highest graphic game, and it's streamed to your monitor, 4K resolution, 120 frames per second. And all you need is a monitor. You barely even need like, you can run this on like a 20-year-old, 10, maybe not 20, but 10-year-old PC. As long as it has a cable internet, like, you're good. So
it's funny you mentioned that, Titan. Like, I would say maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I was looking for GPUs, trying to find providers and, doing all that kind of stuff. And I contacted some people at NVIDIA, and when they got back to me, they were like, "Oh, you're not trying to do like low latency video game processing GPU stuff?" I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And they described what you just told me about. And I never thought they'd actually do something like that, but they actually like delivered a working version of that, and it's good.
Yeah.
They had it like over a year ago with the 3080s, and they just upgraded it to the 4080s. I mean, I missed part of the beginning of the conversation, but you guys are talking about that GeForce Now thing or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm kind of blown away. Like, I was like, I'm not certain that the future includes selling GPUs to people anymore. Like, maybe like the hardcore people, but like,
not that many people can afford them at the prices they're going for now. So I guess they had to change the model.
So yeah, I don't know. I saw that and I found it was very interesting because I thought, but my next question was like, okay, if they can provide real time, low latency, 120 frames per second, 4K to your house, what does this mean for transcoding? Like, is transcoding even necessary? I don't know. I guess it is. Everyone tells me it is, but How does that work?
Well, aren't they? That's what I wonder. Are they transcoding that to send it to you kind of as a video stream? Is that how that works? I don't know how it works.
No, I think it's just like I don't think there's room to transcode anything. Like it's literally instant when you click.
It's a 20 to 30 second 20 to 30 milliseconds is what I think I remember seeing on the presentation when they originally were talking about it.
Yeah,
which is still pretty quick, but maybe not for the hardcore gamer, but for the average gamer, I would think. I don't know. I'm not a gamer. I don't know.
Yeah, it was so minimal in difference that like competitive PvP gaming, absolutely you're going to be better off with a local machine. But anything beyond that is like I think is the future. Which I just wonder what kind of like position Livepeer can get into this, or like what it looks for the future of transcoding in general. Anyway, off on a bit of a tangent. It's worth checking out the GeForce Now if anyone wants to try it. It's free. But yeah, it's very
centralized.
Right,
it's a centralized service. I'm just saying it's one of those things where it's centralized versus decentralized, and who's operating that hardware? What are they doing with all your information?
Monetizing it, I assume.
Oh yeah, they know what video games you're playing. They're definitely gonna try to target you.
There you go. Cool. Let's see. We got about half an hour left, but I don't know if we have enough topics for it. There's one topic I had at the very beginning, which was WordPress and JavaScript plugins or packages. I was talking with Elite about this, providing some sort of like package for these type of services to integrate with the Livepeer service. I feel like it would be like a studio thing to do, but maybe something we can do as a community is build some sort of plug-in or package for these platforms and provide a Livepeer service so people can just like load them up and get going, right? I was thinking more specifically around WordPress because I think I build on WordPress a lot, and if there was a plugin for a live streaming app, like where you can just install a plugin, provide 2 short codes. One is
I thought somebody published that, Titan. I could have swore I saw somebody posted a WordPress Livepeer plugin.
Really?
Yeah. I have to go see where I read that, but there was a plugin for WordPress it may have just been for Studio, but I think there is one.
I'd love to see it. Because if you search Livepeer on plugins on WordPress, like their official page, it doesn't show up. Is it called something else?
Let me see if I can find it. I do a lot of reading, and who knows where I saw that.
Yeah, I'm just looking through live streaming under WordPress apps or plugins, but it's all it's all through what looks like centralized services, basically all through Amazon. But yeah, I'd be curious what the Livepeer one looks like. I'd like to implement it onto my website actually. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
I'm
Well,
looking. I'm seeing if I can find it. I no hits yet in my history, but I'm gonna see if I can. If I find it, I will get back to you with it.
cool. Cool beans. Well,
What's the thing in the Discord about? Maybe I'm sorry. I've been in and out of this. It's toward the last couple minutes here. Someone's posted something called Portal 13 W. It's a WordPress plugin for Livepeer in the. So they posted this on 11/7/2022 or sorry 2022.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I know I saw it somewhere.
I haven't looked at it, but I'll post the link in the.
Yeah, post that, please. I thought it was on the web. I was looking at that, but if it was in Discord, I know I wouldn't find it again.
There you go. In the zip in the right spot. Yeah, water cooler chat. Side chat.
Greetings, WordPress users. Oh, this is fairly recently.
Yeah. November.
Oh, look at this. WordPress main Livepeer main. Under community grants. Completed the first phase 2 of our grant. Create a working Livepeer plugin. Oh. Livepeer credentials. Go Livepeer Studio. I'm gonna try this out on my website. There you go. Someone's already done it. Which is nice.
There you go.
And it's nice. I think it's open source here because they won a grant. So if it's open source, then I can make modifications to it as I please. Which would be a nice baseline for something that I want to create. I was thinking about like an award ceremony plugin or like some sort of custom built, like where like, you know, because I kind of put together like the background noises, like the clapping and the drum roll and stuff. It's all like an app on my computer that, you know, you key bind it and stuff. But it wasn't really working that great through Discord. I don't know if it was coming through very clearly. But to build something like a panel where you can just build these tools right into you can just click them, and some sort of like, you know, pre-made key binding that everyone gets the full audio on their side. So you can kind of create some sort of production grade, you know, web hosted version of some sort of ceremony or announcements or something, right? Without just messing around with like OBS. Cool. Any other topics we want to cover while we got to everyone here?
Not really a topic, but the guy you were talking about from your pool seems to be doing a good job of hacking his way through around ours right now. So we'll see what comes of it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, he's posting stuff. What is this regular connection without a VPN?
I haven't really looked at it yet. I just took a quick peek and saw. My thing was just dinging like crazy. I had to see what was going on.
Yeah, one of the problems we've had, and this was with Ryan's transcoder when we were doing internal testing, is his US East transcoder kept switching to US West. And it looks like that same thing sort of is happening to this guy as well. So it might be a DNS issue or something else. It's been a really tough issue to track. So I'm glad it's happening to someone else so we can try and isolate what the issue is there.
What service do you use for your DNS location?
Cloudflare for the DNS location. Okay. And I believe we're using Vultr servers.
Right.
If I were you, I'd be careful of using the a GeoDNS to connect T's to the O. I would recommend. Well, I mean, you guys do it whatever you want, but I'd recommend just connecting the T to the O using the IP address. Just my 2 cents. I found that works much better.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I don't know if that goes against the way we're authorizing right now. but that might be the best bet. I don't know. We shall figure it out.
Bada boom, bada bing. I like it. I'm very excited for you guys, and it's very exciting to see how you guys are coming along. And yeah, hopefully you guys will have a very nice, smooth operating machine very shortly.
Absolutely.
Well, with that being said, any other topics before we sign off?
I'm good over here.
Cool. We'll end it there. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I do appreciate these water cooler chats every week. We do them Monday, 3 p.m. EST. I just go with ET, right? Eastern time?
Eastern time. Eastern.
Yeah.
It's Eastern.
I get so confused with the daylight savings and the standard time. So,
ET phoned home already.
ET phone home at 3 p.m. ET every Monday. We get together and have conversations and see where it takes us. So thank you all for joining, and we will see you all next week. Cheers.
See you all next
Thank
week.
you.
Thanks. Hey,
Cheers.
guys.
Thanks all.
See you later.